I'm Aurora Winter, and this is Strategic Basics. Boy, have I got a great episode for you today. I just finished watching the 3-hour episode where Jordan Peterson is interviewed by the amazing Joe Rogan. There were so many things about that podcast I absolutely love. It's a fantastic podcast. Please go ahead and listen to it. But first, finish listening to this. I'm going to break out a couple of the most key things that really stood out to me that I loved, that I thought were worth yellow highlighting. And this is Strategic Basics, where we look at the actionable strategies behind breaking news. Joe Rogan's podcast is a phenomenon, but why? Sure, he's curious, funny, and has a ridiculously great guest list. But in JRE episode number 2308 with Jordan Peterson, something deeper emerged, and I paid attention and wanted to share it with you. Around the half-hour mark, Jordan Peterson observed, "You're on a quest. That's what makes your podcast magnetic." Wow, Rogan's quest is to understand, and that makes his curiosity contagious. Peterson mirrors this too. Every time he speaks, you can feel it. He's searching. He's wrestling with the truth in real time. Here's the takeaway for us. When we are curious and interested, people feel it. They become curious and interested too. They talk about you more. They're drawn to the energy of your mission. And this matters more than ever. In a world swirling with manipulation, censorship, performance, and scripts, authenticity cuts through the noise. Around the 55-minute mark, Joe Rogan reflects on how he survived one of the most intense waves of cancel culture and didn't get canceled. In fact, he faced the fire and built trust. Thankfully, at that time, he was hosted on Spotify. Joe Rogan said, "Spotify is a Swedish company. They promote art. They didn't censor me. They don't censor rappers, and they didn't censor me." Here's what's behind that comment. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Rogan was heavily criticized for hosting voices with unpopular views on public health. Some of those guests were labeled as dangerous and irresponsible. Others were banned from social media, even canceled. Why wasn't Rogan taken down? Here's what Spotify CEO Daniel Ek gave as his response at the height of the controversy. Quote, "I want to make one point very clear. I do not believe that silencing Joe is the answer. We should have clear lines around content and take action when they're crossed, but canceling voices is slippery slope. Looking at the issues more broadly, it's critical thinking and open debate that powers real and necessary progress." I certainly agree with that. Rogan posted during that controversial time, quote, "My pledge to you, us, his listeners, is that I will do my best to try and balance out these more controversial viewpoints with other people's perspectives so we may find a better point of view." And that's what builds trust. Not perfection, but pursuit. Not allegiance, but inquiry. As Jordan Peterson once said, quote, "In order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive." End quote. And that's what we saw in this Joe Rogan episode. Two men thinking out loud, risking offense, and engaging what could only be described as intellectual martial arts. It's compelling, but we may or may not agree with them. And the space creates the opportunity for the audience to wrestle with these big questions themselves and decide what they think. But that's just what I think. What about you? What do you think? Are you a fan of Joe Rogan? Are you a fan of Jordan Peterson? What stands out to you? Did you watch this 3-hour episode? I highly recommend it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Another thing that stood out to me was at about just after an hour when Jordan Peterson talked about two kinds of leaders. He drew a bold line between the two kinds of leadership. He said, quote, "Tyrants use fear and force. True leaders lead through invitation." That really struck me. Peterson warns that tyrants deliberately trigger fear and use it as a tool for control. He emphasized the importance of recognizing when fear or force is being used to manipulate us, something we could definitely pay attention to and notice. Towards the end of the episode, just before the hour-and-a-half mark, I guess that's halfway through because it was a 3-hour episode, Peterson talks about leaving your comfort zone and stepping into the unknown. He talks about a quest being magnetic. When you lean into the quest for adventure, Peterson says, you become a blessing to yourself, to your community, and even potentially to future generations. As my mother always used to say, there's no growth in the comfort zone. So how can we all shift from comfort to consequence? I think it's about living your calling and letting that calling drive you to what you say, what you write, what you share, what you do. And in fact, that's what I am doing. I personally am on a quest to help purpose-driven leaders who are already making a difference refine their message, rise to the next level, and publish best-selling books that make a difference and launch movements. Take, for example, my client, Carrie Mancarini. What a story. Doctors gave her 6 months to live, but she had 2 young sons and too much to live for. Carrie refused to accept the wisdom of Western medicine. She didn't give up, even though she was severely ill and at that time confined to a wheelchair. She could barely think or speak, and she felt like she was in her 90s, even though she was in her early 40s. She went on a quest, searching for health, for healing, and for answers. When she finally discovered the Vitality solution, she was able to reclaim her health. Now, 12 years later, she's healthier than ever. Thank goodness the doctors were wrong when they said she had 6 months to live. And now, her message is changing lives. Her new book, The Vitality Solution, helps others regain hope and health through IV vitamin therapy, fasting, mindset, and much more. But what about you? What are you curious about? What quest are you on? How could your quest help others? Please drop a comment and let me know. Here are 3 strategic takeaways from today. Number 1, share your questions. Let people see your process and share your curiosity. Number 2, lead with invitation. Don't use fear. Invite others to join with you. And number 3, share your quest. Root your message in something timeless, your mission to make a difference. I know we may not all be at the height of Joe Rogan or Jordan Peterson. However, we can all be on a never-ending quest to improve. I think Peterson said it best, quote, "Don't compare yourself with other people, compare yourself with who you were yesterday," end quote. Please like and subscribe for more Strategic Basics, where we explore how to turn ideas into income and influence in a very distracted world. Mel Robbins is a great example of this, and I invite you to watch that video next. Mel Robbins paid attention to a 45-second social media post that attracted millions of views. Then she gave people more of what they responded to, expanding the Let Them topic into more videos, a podcast, and finally her mega best-selling book, The Let Them Theory, which has inspired millions and made millions too. It's a great example of how paying attention is the secret to success. I look forward to bringing you more Strategic Basics videos every week. Let them react, then make millions. How Mel Robbins turned one viral post into millions. Mel Robbins didn't plan to start a movement when she posted a short video on social media in May 2023. It wasn't a book launch, it wasn't part of a polished campaign, it was simply a moment of insight, raw, real, and deeply relatable. Let them be late. Let them not invite you. Let them talk behind your back. Let them judge. Just let them. That 45-second clip exploded, reaching over 33 million views and over 1 million likes. More than just a viral post, it sparked a movement. People didn't just watch the video, they felt it. Some even got "let them" tattoos. That's how deeply it landed. But here's the key takeaway. Mel Robbins didn't just post and walk away. She paid attention and she noticed the message that the market responded to. First, she produced longer videos, then a podcast episode, and then, when it became clear that this wasn't just a moment, but an enduring message, she wrote the book, The Let Them Theory. The result? A New York Times bestseller with over 3 million copies sold within months. Wow. A simple idea had been transformed into a strategic powerhouse. This is what I call message to market match, and it's one of the most powerful tools you can have. And this isn't the first time Mel Robbins has paid attention to message market match. She did it with her book, The 5-Second Rule, as well. She noticed what landed, built on it strategically, and turned it into a best-selling brand. In my book, Turn Words into Wealth, I wrote, Mel Robbins didn't invent the 5-second launch countdown. NASA did. But Mel added her unique story, and that touched millions and generated millions. That is the point. You don't have to invent something brand new, you just have to notice what resonates and build from there. Let's look at another example, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. Before he was a best-selling author, he was a professor, a psychologist, and a thoughtful voice posting responses on Quora. One day, somebody asked, "What are the most valuable things everybody should know?" Dr. Jordan Peterson replied with 42 principles, and a few stood out. Tell the truth, pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient, and pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. That post went viral, drawing thousands of upvotes and a deep emotional connection from readers. In his book, 12 Rules for Life, Peterson reflected on this unexpected response. As of May 2017, my answer has been viewed by 120,000 people and been upvoted 2,300 times. My procrastination-induced musings hit a nerve. I had written a 99.9 percentile answer. Jordan Peterson's words struck a chord, and he paid attention. Peterson took that spark, refined the ideas, and turned it into a book that sold over 5 million copies and ignited a global conversation. In my book, Turn Words into Wealth, I quote Jordan Peterson, "If you can read and think and communicate, you are absolutely 100% unstoppable. There is nothing more economically valuable than teaching people how to communicate." Exactly. Your message matters. But to turn words into wealth, you have to notice what works, not guess, not force, but listen. If you're a thought leader, expert, entrepreneur, or someone with a message that matters, start watching the market. Share your ideas, post a story, start the conversation, or join one. And then pay attention. What gets people to say, "Tell me more"? What lights them up? What pulls them towards you without you having to chase? That's your signal. And from there, create more, deepen the message, expand the format. Turn that post into a podcast, that insight into a keynote, that spark into a book. Because the most successful ideas aren't pushed, they're pulled by the people who need them most. And remember, they don't have to be complex. Mel Robbins' message, let go of control. Jordan Peterson's, take responsibility. Both messages are simple and timeless, and both became global bestsellers because they were delivered with clarity and strategy. I personally benefited from reading both the Let Them Theory and 12 Rules for Life. I still think about let them when I'm dealing with challenging people, and also let me respond with wisdom. Let me hold my boundaries. Let me stay in balance. And Rule 10 from Peterson, be precise in your speech, is one of my favorites. This rule inspires us all to communicate with more clarity and power. As I wrote in Turn Words into Wealth, you don't need to create something earth-shatteringly unique. You simply need to add your own story to a timeless truth to create massive value. That's what Mel Robbins did, and that's what Jordan Peterson did. They added their unique perspectives, stories, and voices to enduring ideas, and in doing so, they built movements. So now it's your turn. What is your version of let them or pet a cat? What phrase, story, or framework is already sparking interest with your audience, clients, or team? What are people already quoting, sharing, or leaning into? Don't ignore it. Don't downplay it. Like Mel Robbins and Jordan Peterson, you can double down on what's already working, capture it, shape it, share it, and transform it into something lasting. I'd love to give you a gift to support you on this journey. If you'd like to go deeper, you can get a copy of my award-winning book, Turn Words into Wealth, absolutely for free at turnwordsintowealth.com. Link in description below. It's packed with strategies, stories, and tools to help you clarify your message and monetize your expertise with integrity. I'm Aurora Winter, founder of Same Page Publishing and the author of several books, including Turn Words into Wealth. And this is Strategic Basics, where we help you have clarity, strategy, and impact. So don't wait for the perfect idea. Watch for the one that already sparks a response, and then take aligned, strategic action. And if you found this video useful, please like and subscribe.